Hello, I'm Phil Svitek, 360 Creative Coach, and in this episode, I want to give you resources to get your WordPress website made if you are unable to start it or finish it by yourself, okay? Now, before I get into it, I would like to take the opportunity to invite you to subscribe if you haven't already. That way you get all the various lessons and episodes that I put out right when I put them out. Thank you if you just did, and thank you if you already were. It means a lot to me. It really does. So let's get into it, right? I'm focusing on WordPress today. Of course, there's other content management systems, whether Squarespace and others, Wix being another. But WordPress for me is my preferred choice. I won't get into it why, but that's what I'm choosing to focus on today. So, the thing of it is, WordPress overall is very simple, but whether you're looking for customization or you really just don't have the time or so forth, there's plenty of resources to have someone else build out your website for WordPress. Now, of course, the more kind of customization and the more that's required, like if you're doing it completely from scratch, it's going to cost you a little bit more money, right? Because there's going to be more work involved as opposed to just kind of changing a thing here or there. And then if the thing that's needed to be changed is simple, then of course it's going to be a lower cost, right? Just the nature of the beast. So keep that in mind. But the best resource that I have hands down if you're working on a WordPress website is Codable Io. That's Codable.io. And just kind of based on how the name of it sounds like it's very techie people, right? Coders and so forth. And the good news is Codable actually vets these freelance WordPress developers. So while they're not they're not working for the company directly, they are very well vetted, and they have a reputation behind them. So they're still freelance, but they're reputable. It's almost like Angel's List or something like that. And so you go on there and you, like with kind of a lot of websites, in fact all of these other websites, you can kind of fill out the form of here's the title of my project, here's what I need done, maybe some screenshots, whatever else, kind of a base price that you're looking for, and people submit, and then you can hire somebody. And this is when I want something done like that's especially kind of more tech heavy, and I needed to and when I say tech heavy, I mean if I'm making a lot of changes and things that beyond changing of a color or something like that. If I'm, a lot of times I used to create new themes for WordPress websites and so forth. So I would go through Codable. But if you aren't, if you're just kind of making more cosmetic changes, then maybe not for you, because these are the most professional people, but overall it's going to also be the most costly. So in that respect, you're going to get really quality work, but you're going to have to put up some cash. And every time I use them, it's been worth it, right? Now, sometimes you might just need something a little bit more simpler, or maybe you're not going to be able to put up the kind of money that a professional freelance coder is going to charge. So I would recommend Upwork. Upwork is another freelance website, but it's not specific to just WordPress coders. It's open to a lot of other people, data entry, creative work, anything you can sort of imagine. But they do have WordPress developers, for lack of a better term. And the range, there's great people there, and then there's also pretty bad people. So the thing about with them is, Upwork doesn't necessarily do the vetting that Codable does, and so you're going to have to kind of essentially screen these people through cover letters and maybe doing some interviews to really find the person that you would like. And listen, I love Upwork. I use them all the time I don't use them generally for WordPress stuff, although sometimes I have. But Upwork is a great resource, and I talk about it all the time in my other, certainly in my blog. But there's a little bit of work to be done in terms of finding the right person, the right candidate. And by the way, that's kind of in all things. I think, as a quick side tangent, I think we rush the hiring process a little bit too much. And so, that does us a huge disservice. But anyway, Upwork is a great resource. The last sort of resource that I have for you is Fiverr. Now, Fiverr, much like Upwork, you can get a ton of other, it's a whole range of freelancers. But certainly, there are WordPress people. Now, I've chosen to kind of go in this order of Codable, Upwork, and Fiverr, because Fiverr, to me, I would reserve Fiverr more so like a very small thing. Certainly, if you're like changing up a whole template and want like, heavy customization, I would not necessarily use Fiverr, because, there's great people out there, but it's certainly going to be a lot more harder than even Upwork to find those people. But if you're changing like a color here and there, or want to move like how pictures are structured within it, or change the footer, change widgets, anything of that nature, then yeah, Fiverr will get it done for you, and probably be the cheapest version of all three that I mentioned. So it's not a one size fits all, and that's why I wanted to kind of give you all three resources, because it really depends on the context of what you're going for. But in that sense, I wanted to kind of present all three and kind of give you various scenarios. So that way, there's the high end, the medium, and kind of the simple end of what you might need. To that effect, I tried to kind of highlight this. Of course, it will be impossible for me to name all the various scenarios and so forth. So if you have a project that you're working on and have a specific question, by all means, ask away down in the comment section. Hit me up on social media at Svitek. And, I'd be happy to make my recommendation based on whatever you write. That way I can more properly assess it and, point you in the right direction, and kind of also guide you, give you some even more specific pointers beyond just like, hey, use Upwork. I'll give you, do X, Y, and Z. I promise you that. I always like to be pretty thorough, but in order for me to be thorough, I need more information, right? More input into the computer, as they say. Anyway. So yeah, if you're in that boat, by all means, happy to help. Just let me know, and we'll chat. Also, if you think this episode might be a benefit to somebody in your life, by all means, please share it with them. I certainly would appreciate it, and I appreciate you, and I hope to see you next time.